Hi, my name is Dina, and I'm a guide at GetSetUp. And today we're talking all things Zentangle. But before we start, make sure you jump in that chat, give us your thoughts, and give us your feedback. Let's get started, shall we? What is Zentangling? Zentangling is one of the most awesome things that I have ever done with art. Let's break it down just a little bit. And yes, you may see what's down here below me, and you can see some Zentangles. But what does it mean? We have the word Zen and we have the word tangle. Think about it like this. What do you think about when you hear the word Zen? Being at peace, right? And what are tangles? Well, in this, they're patterns. Patterns, that's something that's repetitive, something that repeats. Think about it like this. I call it mindful, listen to that word, doodling. It's all about artistic meditation. Now, I don't know if you're anything like me, my friends, but I've wanted to meditate my whole life. I have tried. But what's difficult for me, and maybe it's my artist brain, is I have an incredibly active brain that's always thinking about what am I going to do next? What should I do? And sometimes I think that's a good thing because I have a big imagination. But what I do have a hard time doing is quieting myself. This is one way that I have found to meditate. I am able to do something active with my brain and my hands, and yet still be very still and be very quiet. Now, what is this going to help for you? Well, it's going to help you increase your levels of creativity. It's going to really help you focus. There is this whole thing in art that I absolutely love because it gives me the ability to focus on the here and now, what is right in front of me at this moment. And what that allows me to do is to forget about everything else. I have doctor's appointments. I have bills to pay. I have to mow the lawn. I have all these things that I'm supposed to do. And they weigh on me. If I can focus in the moment on the here and now, all of that stuff leaves. It's all about living in this moment and being present in this moment. Forget our past, forget our future. Let's focus on this art. All right? So how do we do Zentangles? First of all, what are the rules? There are no rules. How wonderful is that? There are no rules, okay? When we're doing this, you can Zentangle, or what they call tangle, right? You can tangle or Zentangle for a few minutes a day, a few hours a day, the entire day. For me, I absolutely love it, and I can get really focused in on what I'm doing and lose track of time and space, and I absolutely love that. So these are Zentangles. We're going to go over them a little bit more in here in a minute, but what do you absolutely need in order to get Zentangling? Well, you need something to draw with, a pencil, a pen, a marker, and yes, the official Zentangling says that you should use a really nice pen, really nice paper. I think it's about doing something really good for yourself, but basically use what you've got. So I have a pencil, but I also have something like drawing pens or micron pens. You can find these at art supply stores. You can find them on Amazon, Walmart, they're really all over the place. Then you need some paper. So here I have some cardstock. This, I have some mixed media paper that's really good. So if you want to do something really good for yourself, do that. This one is cut a little bit shorter, which is what I like. Now on here, I have cardstock, and I made some little boxes for myself, right? There are patterns online. There are official Zentangle patterns. Now, what I like to do is come in here and maybe look at the patterns that are already online, write down the name of them. For example, this is fescue, one of my favorite patterns. I love that one. But then there's other patterns that I love as well. And if they have a real name, I usually write it right here. But I also like to come up with my own patterns, right? So that is why I have these empty boxes, and then I can name them myself. Some days I just want to come up with the patterns, and some days I want to use patterns that are already pre-made. So how do you do this? Well, let's look at these three first. These are beautiful pieces of art that you could frame, you could hang up. I even encourage you to get a sketchbook that you just use for Zentangles. I would love to hang these, specifically this one, in my house. So let's look at it a little bit closer. If you zoom in on this, you can see that these are patterns. These are just repetitive patterns over and over again. Let's start with this one. This one is a very simple thing that I laid down first. And these are called strings right here. So I'm going to lay down a set of strings. These are the lines that started. So here I just have a bunch of lines that go to the side and come to a curl in the middle. All right. Now this one is all about the 1950s. I love all the icons that are from that time period. So here you can see I have lots of discs. I have the atomic symbol that was really big during that time. And I just went online and I typed in 1950s icons, and this is what I got. So everything on this one is related to the 1950s. This one we already went through. And now this one, I love music. I took piano when I was really young. I took trumpet lessons. I play the guitar now. So I wanted to do everything music. So if you look at this, and here I have the treble clef. Here I have some eighth notes, and I think I have some 16th notes in here. Here I have a flat. Here's a sharp, and so on and so forth. Then I just fill these with patterns. And if you look very close, you can see there's these tiny little patterns inside. Remember, you can take as long or as short as you want with doing this. But let's get started, shall we? Now, officially, they say you're supposed to do these on tiles. And this would be a tile because it's square. And if I do these on tiles, I could eventually arrange them. Now, pretend this one is this size, right? So I could put these together like this and form a big artwork that you could frame. And it would be really amazing, like tiles or a mosaic. But you can also do them separately. I'm not an artist who likes to be confined where I have to do these measurements, and I don't want you to feel that way either. Do what makes you happy. So I'm going to start with this mixed media paper right here. Now you can cut this down to the size you want, or you can just use what you have right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is sketch myself a border because I do like those nice borders. You can use a ruler here if you want. One idea of Zentangle is not to use an eraser, not to pre-draw anything with a pencil, because in life, if we're going to say Zentangles are like life, mistakes happen. We don't have an eraser for life, right? We don't have a pencil. We start by doing everything in pen. If we mess it up, we have to figure out how to make it work for ourselves. And so if you're going to follow the true rules of Zentangle, that's what you need to do. So I'm just sketching this in. Again, you can use a ruler, but this is how you start, is by making yourself a border. And I am going to take you through the entire real process of Zentangling, but I do want you to make it your own. Now, the next thing we're going to do are our strings, okay? Remember the strings, like I said, I did the treble clef. Those can be our strings, but other strings that you can do don't have to have any meaning. So I'm going to just do some, and I'm not going to worry about it being perfect. And I'm just going to let myself live in this moment. I love curvy lines. So maybe I'll start with some curvy lines. Notice I am doing the strings and the pencil, and I do like to have that option a little bit. I'm going to do just some more curvy lines in here because they make me happy. You can do as many or as few as you like. You can also do things that relate to things. Maybe you want to do a leaf. Maybe you want to do a tree. Maybe you want to do it with something that you're feeling very good about in your life right now. I did music because it makes me happy. I did 1950s symbols because they make me happy. I'm doing curved lines because they make me happy. Now, if you want, start and do the whole thing in pencil. It is completely up to you. I like to use pens. One great thing about these pens right here is they all have numbers on them. This is a brush. This is a very big one because it's a number 3. We go all the way down to a 0.05, meaning this one is incredibly thin. And I'm going to show you the difference, okay? Let's pull out a couple different ones here. So this is the thin one. Look how tiny that is. I don't even think I can see that. And this one This is a 1. Look how nice and thick that is. These are fabulous pens, by the way. Once you start painting with them, you will love them. Now, this is another brush, but look how thick that is. If you look at it compared to this. So it gives you lots of options. I absolutely love these. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with this 1 to draw some of these strings in. You can draw them in. You can wait. It does not have to make sense and go together. Okay, so I would just come in here with my micron pen and trace some of these lovely strings. Okay, I'm not going to do them all right now because when I get into this, it can take me hours. So let's pretend that we have drawn all of our strings. Remember, these are all of our strings. What is the next process? Well, if we want to be true Zentangleists, we're supposed to take a moment to breathe. Breathing is very good for you, by the way. We're kind of clearing our brains. I always recommend that you have water nearby. Water is very good for you. It's also very cleansing. The other thing I recommend is that you put on some music. Some music that isn't going to distract you, but music that makes you feel good. Is that easy listening? Is that country music? Is it pop? Is it jazz? Whatever you love, you listen to. I, in fact, have my own lists that I have made of all the music. I have music for when I paint. I have music for when I do something like this. Make yourself a music list. Do something good for yourself. Now, the next thing I want you to do is think about gratitude. At this moment in your life, is there something that you can be grateful for? Is it nothing more than I bought these new pens, I have this great paper, or I have the moment in my life to take an hour, 10 minutes, and just relax? Let's begin, shall we? I'm going to talk very softly through this, okay, guys? So pretend I have drawn all my strings on this paper. Remember, I have these pens in different sizes, and now I'm going to think about pattern. Maybe you have developed your own patterns and you want to use those, or maybe you just want to make them up as we go along right now. I'm just going to make some up. I'm going to think about these as being sections, like sections of my life, right? Let's start with this small one right here. Any shape that is repetitive is a pattern, right? Here we go. Let's just do something easy like swirls. And I'm going to fill up this entire space with swirls, little cinnamon bun swirls. And you can take pauses as you do this. Take a drink of water, take a breath, but just enjoy what you're doing. Nothing else matters in the whole world but what's right in front of you. Now that may take you longer, or you might be good with that point. Let's go to another section, add a different pattern in there. You could fill all your little ones. You can go all over the page wherever you want. I'm going to draw one of my favorite patterns. A lot of my patterns are very curvy and very circular. It's just something that I absolutely love. And you just keep drawing patterns over and over again until you're finished. If you do an entire Zentangle in one day, that's fine, or one sitting. Maybe your Zentangle takes you a couple hours. Maybe it takes you a couple days. It kind of just depends what it is. I highly encourage you to do things like this. When you go to the doctor, take this with you. Look how easy this is. You could take one pen and you could take your paper and just sit there. How much time of your life is spent waiting? So if you spend all this time waiting in life, why not fill it with something positive? This is great. I just took an airplane ride the other day, 2 hours in the air. That would be so boring for me. So why not grab this, pull it out. I have a little tray table and I did some Zentangling. In fact, I worked on one of those that I showed you. Take the negative in your life and turn it into something beautiful with art. Art is so good for your body. It is so good for your brain. It is healing. Through it, you can see things, you can find things. It's just like meditation. A lot of people talk about meditating and how good it is for them. Try it this way, especially if you have a hard time with the other kind of meditation. This is fabulous. Lose yourself in what you're doing. Think about listening, hearing the pen on the paper. I always like thinking about grounding myself. So I do a lot of sensory meditation while I'm doing this, where I try to smell something, I try to see something, I try to hear something, I try to taste something, and I try to feel it by touching it. Do you feel the pen in your hand? What smells do you get? Are you smelling the pen? Maybe there's some flowers next to you. Do you taste anything in the air? If not, maybe you need to take a moment and drink some water, drink some tea. By grounding yourself in those senses, it really does help. Just lose yourself in what you're doing and enjoy the process. I'm very much about believing in the process of making art. I think the product comes later. But if you worry about the product, you put a lot of stress on yourself. Zentangling frees you from any of those. There's nothing to look at and say, I'm going to just do exactly what she did in that Zentangle. It's not very fun that way, and it's very difficult. Do what you want. It's joyful. Okay? The other thing is, don't worry about if it's not perfect. You can try to fix it, like Bob Ross says, make some happy mistakes, or you just live with it and go with it. It's kind of like life, right? We make a big mistake, we try to fix it. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. And we move on from it. If we stay locked in that one thought process for the rest of our lives, it's very damaging. Use this as a metaphor for life. Now, what I can do here is draw in this border, or I could leave it blank, right? And come back and erase it. It's up to you. Now, after I've taken the time to do this, again, maybe it took me an hour, maybe it took me 10 days, maybe it took me a whole year. Maybe I want to do it on a small square. Maybe I want to do it on a gigantic canvas that I can hang in my house and say, that's a year in my life, and I absolutely treasure it. What do you do after you finish it? Well, something that's going to really finish this off and make it really outstanding. I'm going to close this just for a second, my friends. I'm going to grab one of these, or all of them. I like to add some shading in here. So let's do that. You can do that with a regular pencil. And we're going to think about where shapes overlap. Where do we want them to look like they bend? It doesn't matter if you have a lot of experience with shadowing. You're just going to add some shading in there wherever you want. I'm going to start with, let's start with this design. I want it to be round, so I'm thinking about maybe shading all around this edge. You can even play around with different kinds of pencils you use. Don't use such a hard touch when you're first starting. If you want the ability to erase it, or if you want to go full on Zentangle, don't worry about erasing it, just go for it. Zentangles officially don't have color in them, but I also don't believe that if you really want to add color to this, that you shouldn't be able to add color, friends. Color sometimes is phenomenal, but so is black and white. So I'm just going in here, I'm thinking about different places that I want to shade. Where do things fall back? I'm adding a shadow, so maybe it looks a little bit more rounded, but maybe I want it to look like these black parts stand up, so there would be a shadow under them. You can do highlights by erasing. This is completely up to you. This is your art. It does not belong to anyone else. Art actually never does belong to anyone else. Don't ever feel like you need to do something to please anyone else but yourself. Art is a joy. Be a little selfish about it. And so I would just go through here and say, oh, I want these to fade back. Let's make these a little shadowy. Use them as a way to meditate. It gives you something to do with your brain. Just enjoy art. It's made for you. Be a little selfish. So thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a fabulous day. Keep Zentangling, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.